I know coronavirus is a global thing, but you know, it's just sort of nice to not have to see it in your face every single day. You know, it's just sort of a nice break to sort of see the kids in a different environment and stuff. And it was, mate, ice cream every single day. Every day for breakfast.
Mate, that's fucking hot. That's like heaven, that, to me.
Oh,
Forget your wine and all that shit. Just give me ice cream every day and I'm a happy man.
Oh, mate, there's no way you'd be doing your fucking 5K in under 30 minutes or whatever you did today if you spent a week in Italy. Congratulations anyway. You've been making good progress with that.
Yeah, it's been... I've kept at it. Mate. I was getting a bit frustrated because, you know, you're sort of stuck. And I was doing like 30... I got to 31 minutes. 30. I did like 30 minutes almost exactly, but just over 30 minutes. And I was just like, we were doing it for me. My cousin's raising money for psoriasis for the month. So we tried to do as many miles as we could. So the target was miles rather than times. I just wanted to try and bump the time down as a sort of personal thing. And then, today, funnily enough, just after the chat, we're doing it for a month and it ended in 1st of August. And then, funnily enough, went out this morning and managed to do it. So I want to try and keep it up now, man. I'm doing that intermittent fasting as well. You know,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, man, it's testing though.
Mate, I've done that before. I've lost a decent amount of weight on it. Are you doing like 16-8 or are you doing like the calorie counting?
12-8 I'm doing.
Right, okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm cheating because I'm having a Diet Coke. Really, I should only be having a fucking herbal tea or water after 8 o'clock at night, but fuck off.
You're doing a 12-8?
Mm-hmm.
It's 24 hours in a day.
And I only eat for 8 of them. I fast for 16 hours a day.
Yeah, so that's a 16-8.
Is that what you said? 16? I didn't know what you meant when you said 16.
Yeah, 16 hours you fast for, and then 8 hours you should eat.
Sorry, I meant the time. Sorry, 12-8 the time that I eat. That's how I do it. That's how I knew it. But in answer to your question, I am doing a fucking 16-8. I shouldn't really be having Diet Coke, but I'll be all right. I'm not going to fucking lose any sleep over it. What
have I missed since I've been fucking living it up in Italy anyway? Has the world got any calmer?
No. Boris Johnson's come out and said he's really sorry for the way he's handled everything. He's going to try harder. He also apologised for making racist remarks towards Muslims and black people. Donald Trump's announced he's going to resign immediately because he's not up to the job. And Manchester City have said that the title they won in 2012 doesn't count because they were cheating, so they've given it us back.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so
I'm going back to Italy. It might save the world. Fucking hell.
No, mate, it's the same shit. Everything just got a little bit worse.
Yeah, I seen Wiley as well. Went on some anti-Semitic rant on social media. I know he gets labelled as a crackhead at times, but I think that's just an easy way of making an apology for some fucking lampoonish remarks. But anyway, before we get into any of that shit, I'm Scotty. That's Motty. Sorry, it's been a week since the previous. We did plan to do one from Italy, but I'll be honest, I just wanted to, eat.
Mate, I mean, to be fair, I'll give you a due, Scotty. And you did a little player of the year thing for us, I think. When you're over there, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, mate. There's no, vlogging and doing podcasts when you're away. Just get away, stay away, turn the phone off, man. There's nothing good. There's nothing good happening to it.
That was the thing, though. I tried to, it's like I said I'm not going to take my phone away. I ended up taking it away because I wanted pictures for the kids and stuff. And I tried to keep my social media checking it down to maybe an hour in the evening. And then I just you sort of feel yourself getting dragged into other people's shit. And I was like, what? I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I really don't. Stop telling me how I feel about people I don't know or give a fuck about. And that's what I always think about holidays or when you have any sort of time away. I don't know if you felt this when we lived in Mali or when you go on holiday in general, is that when you have that sort of distance and it sort of makes you think more about clarity and, how you sort of, I don't know, your day to day. I'll quickly get fucking sucked back into it. So it's all, it's all wishful thinking at the moment. But I was just thinking about how I got, how much other people's bullshit sort of impacts my life. You know what I mean? And a lot of stuff that I don't really care about. And have you ever seen the Woody Allen film, I know, Big Whatever Works?
Yes, the one with Larry David. As the lead.
Yeah, with Larry David. Yeah, there's a fantastic opening monologue in that where he's talking about what the problems in the world are too huge, and you'll hear about something that's been happening in Darfur, and then you close the paper, and then you have your eggs on toast, and because you get what can you do with that information? And that's what happens when you open up Twitter and you find yourself fucking. I don't know what's going on. Someone's drowned in fucking Brazil. I'm like, I don't know fucking him from Brazil. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, why is no one doing anything about this lad in Brazil that's fucking drowned? Or even closer to home in England, you just get so much warped into it. And I found that about myself there when I was away. And it's not been like, it wasn't a revelation, but I've that bit of a distance. And then I came back and I was seeing that James Murdoch has resigned from News Corp. James Murdoch being one of the unholy trinity of the spawn of fucking Rupert Murdoch, obviously. And when I seen the headline on this, I think it was in The Guardian, that the worries are now that News UK may become more right-wing. I was like, how? What? Because it told the line.
Fascist. It's not even pretend anymore. It's just going to be outright National Socialism.
It's going to be in that
paper.
Yeah, in that big Nazi font, Fox News.
Have you ever seen that film In the Loop?
Oh, the play on the thick of it, innit? Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, when they're choosing the font, and he goes, oh, no, we can't use that because it's got bad connotations. And he says, what do you mean, the Third Reich? And he goes, no, heavy metal.
Also stars our friend James Gandolfini, that, doesn't he?
Yes, superb as always. Well remembered, mate. Yeah, he's in it as the peaceful, in inverted commas, general. There's a great scene with him and Peter Capaldi, and they're arguing, and he's like, he's sort of like winding each other up. And he says something like, I'd shoot you, but you look like with that vein, you'd be a bit of a squirter, and and then Peter Capaldi's saying, I don't go in for violence, I go for psychological maiming, and then during the argument, James Gandolfini calls him English, you English, and just as he walks off, Peter Capaldi goes, don't ever call me English again, and walks off. And James Gandolfini's just fucking brilliant in anything he does. He's just sort of stood there, and you can see him going, fuck's he on about? Because that's like you don't get like the difference in English and Scottish. It's just it's just fantastic. I just love James Gandolfini so much, and he's great in that. Well remembered. Yeah, I love that film. I love it. I love him in it. It got a bit of pelters actually. Some people thought it was a bit hit and miss, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. As a fan of the thick of it as well, sometimes you worry if these sort of spin-offs and stuff are gonna work, but I really enjoyed it as well. But back to the James Murdoch thing, and then I watched a documentary. Have you seen the documentary series that's on BBC iPlayer at the moment on the Murdoch dynasty? And it's basically showing. Yeah, I'm only 2 in, so it goes on to about like the Murdoch's murky beginnings, and then the second episode is in the Levinson inquiry. Then it starts
with his murky beginnings, and then just goes down into like the absolute doldrums. If it starts with murkiness, then it must end in the fucking pits of hell.
Well, if you could describe it, like most films have an arc. This is more like a toboggan slide. It's like. His man pops him out and it just goes straight down into fucking
starts with Satan! Before the end he's actually sacrificing virgins for the devil.
Fucking cunt. But I never realised how much Handy played in the Tony Blair get into leadership. I was unsure. I'd never really, because during that time I was only in my late teens, and I've never really read back on it. And the Tony Blair getting into leadership was all sort of like, they were the heydays and the glory, the Britpop era and the great 90s and the new beginnings and what things can only get better. But I didn't realise that Tony Blair very much got in bed with the devil. And I think Neil Kinnock was very upset about it because of how the Sun and everything had sort of bastardised Neil Kinnock's career. And what was the paper headline with the last person? If Kinnock gets in, the last person... Yeah, they like switch the lights off. But I remember that. Yeah, I remember that headline. And Neil Kinnock said that. It says it's John Prescott on behalf of Neil Kinnock said that what Kinnock said was that Blair, you're going to have to give him something. He goes, I'm not giving him anything. He goes, no, but you will later on down the line. And it sort of shows following all the sort of stuff that Blair had to sort of do the euro and stuff, because he said if we ever have a referendum, and then it's got fucking Farage pops up in the documentary and saying that if Blair doesn't get into bed with Murdoch on that move, then it's very unlikely that we might have had Brexit further down the line. And it's just for someone, we talk quite a lot about politics on the show, and we're like, obviously, I think you have a little bit more faith in me and that democracy works, but it just fucking frustrates me even further when you see that well, that's what it's like. We've got to come back from Italy, and it's fucking Murdoch's very much the fucking Vito Corleone of how our government is run, really, because everyone he seems to back through the newspapers and what they control. He's a kingmaker, isn't he? He can put them into power, because David Cameron wasn't giving him much hope when Rebecca Brooks and sort of everything got behind him because they fell out with Gordon Brown. It just sort of shows how seeped in power it is. So that was sort of a spin-off from the James Murdoch stuff. But what's your sort of take on how can we ever expect to have a leader that isn't blessed by the devil, so to speak?
It's a very good question, because the thing was in 20, I always get my years mixed up. When it was a hung parliament under Corbyn, like with Corbyn as leader of Labour Party, that was probably the opportunity, because the Mail and the Sun went after him relentlessly. He was an IRA sympathiser, he was a terrorist, he was this, he was that, and yet I know he lost, but he didn't lose the way that everyone thought he did. Yeah, and I think, it was the first time you'd see those papers not having the influence they had in the past, because they couldn't get May over the line. And that was, in my lifetime, I've never seen, even going back to the Kinnock years, at least with Kinnock, it was more he was inept than he was criminal. With Corbyn, it was, he's a terrorist. Things that sort of, they were really dealing from the bottom of the deck with some of these things. It was trying to sort of paint him as, he believed in terrorism, or he sympathised with terrorists, and he wasn't safe, and he couldn't be trusted, and it was more than just he's a bit clueless, like it was with Kinnock. He was nicknamed sort of the Welsh windbag, and he was just someone who liked to pontificate all the time and didn't really have much substance behind the bluster. Where with Corbyn, they were actually painting him as a real evil type of man who genuinely, was a communist and a Marxist and a terrorist and all these horrible things, and you wouldn't be safe, and he wanted to do all these nasty things to you and everything. And yet, there's now a sort of inquiry going on that perhaps if the Labour Party or members of the Labour Party backed him a bit more, he could have got over the line. I don't know, that's a different conversation, but it showed that their influence was maybe waning with the likes of social media and stuff like that, who can, you can sort of circumvent them sometimes, and more people are turning to that for news and for information. We see it with Trump, don't we? He does sort of goes via Twitter half the time. So yeah, I just think at the moment they're too powerful, they're too strong, and they do still have that influence. And you're right, everything you said about Blair, getting into bed with them. He did. It was, the Sun headline. It was the Sun what won it. They shifted. They went from being a Tory newspaper to being a Labour one, back Blair, and then claimed that it was down to him. Now it was a bit of both. I think they obviously helped him. I think Major just never quite, he scraped home in 92, was it?
Yeah.
With a majority of 7 or 11. I get it confused. I think it might be 11, which is not really a working majority, because I think then he started losing MPs to all sorts, and then he lost his majority, or he barely kept it. So yeah, Blair was sort of, very popular guy anyway, and then managed to get in bed with Murdoch. I think they had a meeting. They have a meeting abroad or something. I'm not sure. I've not seen it.
Yeah, they went to I think it's called the Hayman Island, well, an island that Murdoch lives in, and he went over there and gave a speech. And everyone from Labour was saying that, why are you doing it, John Prescott? I never really read up much on John Prescott as a side note, but he comes across really well the way he was sort of speaking in this documentary. But you make a good point about the Sun, because the interview or the editor of the Sun at the time. And when it got an email or a message off Murdoch saying, we're backing Blair, we need to be more proactive for Labour. So they wrote a headline. And then the first thing in the morning, this editor's gone into to work. And Murdoch's on the phone saying, you've got it wrong. You've got it all wrong. This is incorrect. I'm coming downstairs, puts the phone down. And the next minute, he walks into the editor's office and says, listen, we are 100% behind Blair, not on this sort of like towing the party line, when it's a balanced view in it. go after everything as hard as you can. And when you were talking about how they came after Corbyn, how the Sun turned on Tory MPs, and there's like all the sex scandals that came out around the time of, and it very much does mirror what you're saying about Corbyn, because there was people who were saying that Tory MPs were having extramarital affairs in Trafalgar Square and some of these sort of lambasted headlines and stuff. And it just sort of shows how easy just from one man's persuasion, how the whole of fucking history can change. And he's not even fucking British.
It's weird, isn't it? You mention all these things now, and I sort of grew up. I know we're similar age. I think a lot of this is probably, forgive me if I'm wrong, a little bit before your time in terms of you might not have noticed a lot of it going on. But I remember with Major, I remember the whole Tory sex scandals. He sort of launched this thing, Back to Basics, I think it was called, where he wanted like family values. And as it kicks off, I think one of his MPs, there was David Mellor, of course, got caught having an affair, famous with an actress, Antonio something, I can't remember her name. I think another MP, I think he died. I might be wrong. I think he's asphyxiated himself doing a sex act, like self-asphyxiation. And that was like honestly, it's a tragedy, but it's sort of the scandal in it and this whole thing that the Tories are all shagging about and just, the toffs just shagging each other and they don't care about us sort of attitude.
Yeah.
And then normally, the Sun would have okay, it's a tabloid, so it would have had a go at him, but it wouldn't have been as bad. But because they were backing Blair, like you said, don't forget, there's a lot of people now who will say Blair was a Tory. If you ever see the film The Deal, where it talks about him and Brown making the deal, the general feeling is, we've got a Tory in charge of the party. He's just a Tory in Labour clothing. And him and John Major, a lot of the views were very similar. They still are.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned a good point about John Prescott, because he was a good link, I think, from old Labour to new Labour, literally new Labour, as they called it. They needed someone like that because you had all the stuff about Clause 4 that they wanted to get rid of and privatisation. And the things that have been core Labour values, they were sort of all policies. Excuse me. Diet Coke, forgive me. That was
policy giving you a bit of gas, are they, Jay?
Yeah, mate. I thought I was going to be quiet. It was ridiculous. They woke the house up. Labour's policies in the 90s just nearly made me even vomit. They were that crazy. Sorry, mate. Yeah, so he was a good sort of conduit between old Labour and new Labour. Then you had people like Peter Mandelson and Alistair Campbell, obviously, with the sort of the new breed and the spin as well, that was sort of taken to a new level under. He's always had spin in politics since it began, but it was taken to a new level under Labour. And I think you're right. You mentioned now you're getting in bed with the devil, and the thing that fascinates me now is I grew up with Major as my first prime minister. I remember Thatcher, and I remember everyone hated her. My granddad hated her. My dad hated her. We had poll tax riots. She was like, she was like the devil as far as my family was concerned, and a lot of the people I knew with Thatcher. But I was only a kid. I was 10 when she resigned, for fuck's sake. But John Major, I remember him a lot more clearly, and he did seem just sort of shrouded in disaster. Everything was sort of do you remember Black Wednesday when the economy collapsed and he couldn't get a deal? I think it was he tried to get Germany on the phone to help him out, and everything went wrong. And he just seemed like a man who was constantly under stress and just didn't have control of pie, didn't have control of his government. Was a bit of a disaster. And funnily enough, I was reading Alistair Campbell's diaries. I tried to give him a go, but they're fucking boring and that thick. Honestly, mate, it was like, even for someone like me who's quite interested in politics, I read a few chapters and I just lost interest. But one thing I did read was they were worried that there was going to be a Tory leadership contest between Heseltine and Major, that Heseltine may try and go again, even though Major was the Prime Minister, and he may win, and then they may have to go up against Heseltine because he was so confident of beating Major. That was a real worry for him. But the point I'm getting to is, at the time, Major was seen like a disaster. Blair was the golden boy. Yet now, history will probably look back at Major as being a decent man who was sort of the victim of circumstances beyond his control almost when it comes to the Tory party. He inherited a toxic party that he just couldn't, he couldn't fix. He didn't have the majority to fix it. but has become a sort of respected elder statesman, especially with his views and stuff on Europe and whatnot. And people look at him as a fundamentally decent man, I think.
Yeah.
Blair, do people still look at him with that sort of attitude? Or is he the guy that took us into a war in Iraq, an illegal war? Is he that guy that bowed down to George W. Bush? Is he the guy that led us down a path that's culminated in the most divisive times in our history? Do you know what I mean? I think
that's very true. Yeah, because when you look at how John Major came out regarding the referendum and stuff, John Major spoke really well, didn't he? I thought over actually leaving Europe, and I agree. History won't be kind, and I don't think it deserves to be kind to Tony Blair. I think if he hadn't gone into Iraq, then things may have been different. But again, when we look back to him getting into bed with Murdoch and where we are now, who knows? But I think his career is fully tarnished. Murdoch, Alistair Campbell actually does a line in the documentary where he says Murdoch said it's not going to be the easiest of relationships with News UK getting into bed with the Labour Party. It'll be like two porcupines having sex. It'll be slow and awkward, but we'll get there in the end.
That's probably how Murdoch's wife feels.
Which one? Fucking hell, he's gone for a few.
Is he going with Jerry Hall?
Well, I'm not too sure. Like, the documentary, he divorced his first one after 31 years, and then he married a Chinese communist intern who was 31 years his junior, and I think he had kids to her. Then he ended up Jerry Hall, Mick Jagger's ex.
Yeah, he did marry her not long ago. Yeah, I'm just having a look. Yeah, they married in March 2016.
Prenup, man. I imagine he's got a prenup to fuck on that.
I mean, that's one sort of crazy one extreme to the other there, and it going out with Mick Jagger, or marrying Mick Jagger and then going to Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
Certainly, you've not got a type there, have you, really?
Rich.
You know what I mean? Yeah, rich. That's it. Good point there. What attracted you to the billionaire Rupert Murdoch? But to paraphrase Caroline Aherne. But yeah, it's I mean, there's so many fascinating things to that. But I think it does deflate you a lot. The sort of the power that Murdoch has and the way he uses it. And you see it with Fox News. He's behind that and the stuff that goes on over in America. That's really sort of it just angers me when I watch. I don't watch it. I see clips and stuff. The way they went after Obama, the way they backed Trump, but now they're not turning against Trump, but they're not as sort of cozy with him. But you know, you've got this just far right. It's just far right. It's not right wing. It's far right. It's just absolute racist drivel. You know, they say it's not evangelical. They say it's like Christian values. Is it? Fuck. It's got nothing to do with Christianity. It's just power crazed sort of. Overly capitalist people. It's just honestly, it's all about profits, and it's disgusting a lot of what goes on. And Murdoch's, you know, he is getting away with it. What's the reason behind James Murdoch's resignation, by the way?
Apparently, he disagreed with the way the News UK was going and some of the headlines that they've been printing over the last few years. But when on this documentary sort of breaks down his daughter or his eldest daughter and the first two sons. I got James, and I can't remember the other guy's name, Landock or something. Landock Murdoch sounds like someone at the A-team. But James always seemed a bit of he bought a rap. He had tattoos and piercings, and he bought like a rap label. He always seemed to be the one who was a bit known as the black sheep of the three of them. And I think he's always had sort of loggerheads with a lot of the headlines. So I'm not too sure what they've not come out and made a huge statement, but he's just said that he separated his ways. He's not going to be skint, is he? But it'd be interesting to see where it goes next. But let's move over to...
He's not going to get a job at Costco or anything like that, or after... he wants to bump into the local food bank.
Yeah. James Murdoch?
Mate.
Jesus.
You know what I mean, mate? Quit my job and all that, thought I'd get another one.
COVID in it. There's no jobs going.
Just quickly before you move on.
Yep.
Have you seen Anthony yet? The documentary on Anthony Walker. Not the documentary, the drama by Jimmy McGovern on Anthony Walker.
It's an old one, isn't it?
No, it's new. It's
this young lad who got killed by Joey Barton's fucking brother.
Yeah. There was a it was on 6 days ago when you were away.
No, I've not watched that yet. I'll check that out.
It's just quickly, because I know you're not seeing it. I don't want to go on about too long. Just two things, like, well, I'll explain it, and one reason why you should watch it. It does it as though it starts from him being 25. He died when he was 18, but it starts as though he's 25 and his life as a 25-year-old, and then it goes backwards. So just to sort of,
right, okay, yeah.
So he's 25. He's got a kid. He's got a missus. Blah blah blah. Then it goes back to he's 24. His missus has the baby. He's 23. He's getting married. He's 22. He's meeting his missus. He's 21, or he's, they're moving in together. He's 21. Yeah. He's meeting her, and it goes back. You know what's coming, so which is tragic. And then it goes. So obviously he's 18 and he gets murdered. And it's just brilliantly made by Jimmy McGovern, who's one of the real talents. For in drama. I know he's a Scouser, but nothing wrong with that. And he does a great job with this, as well as you'd expect, because Andy Walker's from Liverpool, and I know what you mean with Joey Barton, but I think that's a bit of a distraction, that, because a lot of people pin it because Joey Barton, the connections, but it's fuck all to do anything that. But yeah, it's mate. Our mutual friend Trevor messaged me. I was shopping. I was in Asda, and he said, "Have you seen this?" And I said, "I've not seen it." It was on that night. I said, "No, I've not seen it, mate. I'm not home yet." He went, "Well, watch it when you get home." So I messaged him and said, I'm just sitting down to watch it. He said, "Oh, mate, you'll be in bits by the end." Mate, I was fucking gone, mate. I was gone. Honestly, takes you through all the emotions, and I was upstairs hugging my son at the end of it, honestly. Seriously, it's absolutely heart-wrenching and emotional and anger-inducing as well, but it's fucking brilliant. And, my heart goes out to his mum, I think, was associated with it, and she's portrayed in it, and just can't imagine what she's been through, but just a wonderful sort of stoic woman who's, handled it all with so much dignity when most of us would have fallen apart. But yeah, just give that a go, mate. I just thought I'd give you a heads up. I know you're away. It's right up yours. I know you know about the case and everything, but yeah,
because it was in the paper. It was in the paper this week, wasn't it, about the trying to get out from jail? So the timing was a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's but yeah, like, I think the two that got done for it, because I think they got 20 years and 17 years, or 23 years and 17 years. Now Michael Barton, I think he was 17 at the time. He'll be 34 when he gets out. The other lad, I can't remember his name. He was 20 at the time, so I think he'll be 43. So it's sort of its own when you see what the life Andy Walker could have had, which was taken away from him. The children he never had, things like that. And I'm not a massive fan of, eye for an eye justice. I think people do get not redeemed, do have the sort of, should be given the opportunity to serve their time and then come out and be rehabilitated or whatever. But it's hard to just sort of, it's hard to accept that these people will be out and have a lot of their life left to lead and live. When this lad, who was by all, it doesn't matter what sort of lad he was, but he was a lovely lad, who everyone loved and was a great sort of asset to his family, and worked hard and was doing well at school and all the rest of it. He was just murdered for being black. Well, let's call it how it was, by a pair of fucking idiots. It doesn't sit well with you when you think that. And not only the sentences, yes, the long sentences, but they're going to get out as more or less our age. And my life's not fucking over. But now they're appealing against it, and you think, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Seriously, just fucking do one. Yeah. But no, check it out, man. 100%. You'll. I won't say love it's probably the wrong word, but you need to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely will be checking that out. Right, let's move over to what's Dickhead Donald been up to since I've been in Italy. He's not really resigning, is he?
No, unfortunately. If he was, you remember that party we had when Katie Hopkins was cancelled?
Oh, yeah.
I'd have a fucking full blown, forget COVID, I'd be around your house with the party poppers, mate, and we'd be absolutely dancing down your road.
Fuck a social bubble. Yeah. Donald's gone.
Donald's gone. Ding dong, the fucking bells would be out, mate. We'd have the church bells ringing. Don't you worry about that, mate. He's it's hard to keep up with it all because he does so much so often that, as we're speaking now, he's probably tweeting out that he's declared war on fucking Yemen or something. But he was talking about delaying the election. I might have my days mixed up here, but in the time you're away, this has all happened. So he wanted to delay the election because you know, he says that you can't trust mail-in ballots and and all this shit. When the fact is, you know, I think he knows there's a chance that he could lose. I know you can't trust the polls, but he's so far behind in the polls at the minute that
really
it's looking, I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's not looking great for him. So he mentioned the fact that, you know, we can delay the election because he doesn't trust the voting, because mail-in votes because of COVID and all that shit. And even the Republicans are like, that's not happening. We're not delaying the election. You can't do that anyway. Even in the Civil War, they didn't delay the election when there was a fucking war going on between the fucking states. They still had the election. So you're not going to delay the election just because Donald Trump wants you to. Now, there's lots of different caveats to this. People saying that, you know, his mate runs a postal service, Postmaster General. He's going to start trying funny stuff with the postal vote. I don't know. But, yeah, so he said that. Then he was moaning that nobody likes him. He was saying that nobody likes me. I don't know why. Everyone likes sort of Dr. Fauci, but no one likes me. You know, there's a reason for that. Dr. Fauci's not an horrible dickhead. There's one. If he was, we won't like him, but he isn't, so we do. Then you've had all these sort of the bar hearing and everything else, and it's just you know, he's losing the plot even more than most. And like a lot of people, CNN, I know CNN are slightly sort of leaning towards the set. They're not even left wing, they're more centre, aren't they? But they were saying that, you know, the fact that even like Lindsey Graham and people aren't agreeing with him when it comes to the delaying the election. People are just completely frustrated with his lack of a plan with COVID. He hasn't got any sort of, there's no national strategy. He went to Florida to hold some rallies. I think he was able to hold one rally. No one was wearing a mask. He didn't go to John Lewis's funeral. Obama was there. Bush was there. Clinton was there. He wasn't. When he was asked whether he was going, he just gave a flat no. And Obama and even Bush had sly digs at him. And then, like, again, Fox News kicking off, it's a funeral, it should be a campaign rally and all this shit. They were stating the facts. You know, John Lewis was a sort of a civil rights hero, fought for civil rights. You've got a president who's against them. It's that fucking simple. It is what it is. It'd be doing him a disservice not to talk about that at his funeral and talk about what he fought against and what he fought for, even what he fought against with the current president. So it's just been chaotic for him, even by his standards, and he's just not getting to grips with this pandemic. He's not. You know, I think he did a tweet earlier that because Australia is sort of, he has this, keeps repeating this line that the reason America's got more cases is because they do more testing. And, you know, people are trying to explain it to him, you know, if you don't get tested and you're pregnant, you're still fucking pregnant. Like, he can't get his head around the fact that just because you've got more tests doesn't mean that's why you've got more cases. You've got more cases because you've got more cases. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. That's the reason. And then Australia have sort of started locking down or whatever because they've had 671 cases, I think, today, which is still far low. I know they've got a small population, but it's still far less than America. And they're taking drastic action, whereas America hasn't now. Dr. Fauci, when he was asked at the hearings the other day, he said that, you know, America only sort of did a 50% lockdown. They didn't do what other countries did, what Europe did, which was a full lockdown. You know, we did it, didn't we, for months? We had a full lockdown. You know, you could only go out to the shops or for exercise. You couldn't go into work. You couldn't do, you know, America did it sort of half.
Yeah.
Trump was tweeting, reopen this, reopen that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was going against his own policy, or supposedly his own policy. So he's just not got to grips with it. He's having a meltdown. He knows he's going to lose, or thinks he's going to lose the election. I hope he does. And he's trying to sort of. I think he might even be planning to blame it on, you know, fraudulent mail-in voting when everyone knows that's bollocks. Apparently, Harvard did a study and it's like 0.0001% of mail-in votes are fraudulent.
Right,
so
okay,
that's a fucking nonsense.
He's already trying to get the excuses in there before it actually comes, and that's just I was listening to you listen to Mark Maron's podcast, the comedian Mark Maron, WTF podcast. It's really good. He you'll really like it. He interviews a range of people from Edward Norton to I don't know who we listened to today, Woody Harrelson, Kate Blanchett, and he had one with Barack Obama. And I was listening to it in the car. Yeah, I was listening to it in the car yesterday. And it was just the difference in just the way that Barack conducted himself and the languages he uses and stuff like that. It was just fucking absolutely fantastic. And then that was when Barack was in power. And then later on, he talks about Donald Trump and how it is over there. But when you just think he's gone beyond parody, he just goes on again, doesn't he? And he talk about doing like the first ever, is it right, Republican presidential conference announcement or something, but he's not allowing the press to go to be part of the seminar,
the convention when they announced him. But it's funny you mentioned that, because I think that was, again, this is, I think this is in the last few hours, because there's something happening every minute with him. But,
get him away from the phone,
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? It's just like, will someone take his fucking phone off him? Just give him a toy one. Give him one that he thinks is a phone. Do you know what I mean? Let's press some buttons. You give your kids. My 3-year-old's got a pretend phone that she thinks is a phone.
What were they called? What were they called? What were they called? Tomaco. What were they called? The fucking maker kids that used to get kids toy for. I can't remember the name of it.
It's not Namco, is it?
Is it Namco? You know what I mean? Them fucking big shit. Just imagine him there with them big shiny things like that, like the guy at Quantum Leap. Fucking.
I'm tweeting. I'm tweeting here. Yes, you are, Donald. Yes, we're reading that tweet. That's really good. Yeah, that phone's not just showing you that; it's showing everyone in the world can read that tweet. Don't worry about it. But yeah, the BBC have just ran a story, and it's just, the headline says it all. Republicans dampen reports of the convention media ban. The US Republican Party has distanced itself from reports that this month's party convention, which will formally renominate President Donald Trump, will be closed to the press. So they're distancing themselves from that idea. I mean, you're going towards dictatorship, really, aren't you? He wants a dictator to try and be out like a dictator, where you don't even have an open, free press. You just have a sycophantic one. He started doing more stuff with his OAN, that network, rather than even Fox News isn't. We spoke about Rupert Murdoch. Even that's not sycophantic or right wing enough for him. They're questioning him. Chris Wallace did a great interview with him the other week. I think it's Chris Wallace, where he just held him to account. I know he's a Fox News reporter, anchor, but he did when he interviewed him. And Trump said, Joe Biden wants to defund the police. It's in his manifesto. It's in his policies. And he said, no, it isn't. So Trump said, right, let's get it. Wait here, we'll get it. And then he couldn't find it. They got it, and it wasn't there. And he was like, he was left with egg on his face. So it's just fucking, it is what it is. But I think the fact that even Fox News isn't right-wing enough for him says it all. I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't want to get too excited, because I've been here before in 2016 when I thought Hillary was going to win. Not that I was a massive Hillary fan, if I'm being honest, but she was a much better option than this fucking moron. So we'll see. There's 90-odd days left to the election.
Yeah, I think so.
Long time in politics. We've been here before, Dukakis had a lead like that over Bush. Bush had not Bush. I think if you want to be historic about it, I think Dewey had a lead like that over Truman. We've seen it before, where massive leads have swung, but we are in the middle of a pandemic, and he isn't getting stitched with it. So we'll see. Yeah, the way this world's moving and the things that are happening on a daily basis, you don't know what's going to get thrown up in front of us or him. But he seems to be building a wall. For somebody who wants to build a wall, he's just building the wall around himself, isn't it? And if he's actually singing out where that nobody likes me, it just seems very much sort of like the Katie Hopkins and Tommy Robinsons, where you're going more and more fucking fight. He'll be on Rebel TV next, because that'll be the only fucking place Did you see that? That's one good thing that happened on your way. Did you see that he's moving? He's emigrating, Tommy Robinson.
What? Tommy Robinson's going to be an immigrant?
Tommy Robinson. Listen to this. Tommy Robinson said that he's been the victim of an arson attack at his house or something. So he's, for the safety of his family, he's going to move abroad.
Wow, that's nothing like them Syrians that were fleeing their country for fucking war. Is it really that he was fighting against?
The man that sort of made his name from arguing against people coming over here to escape because their families were in danger, he now wants to go abroad because he thinks his family are in danger.
You fucking Tim Pot tool, get the fuck in the bin, you poor Spanish souls that are going to have to put up with him. And he won't last long over there anyway. Right, from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, is it? And obviously Prince Andrew and what's been happening with that. You want to have a discussion regarding
Meghan? Yeah. Meghan, did you see that she wore an American dress the other day? Burn her at the stake. She's not British. She's not English.
She wore an American dress?
No, there was this thing once where I think the Mail ran a story about the fact that she kept wearing American dresses and they weren't happy. This is what she's up against, mate. It's just fucking nonsense. Yeah, the thing what I wanted to mention about this is Prince Andrew, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell's obviously been arrested. She's going through the courts. Now there's these apparently leaked documents that show that Prince Andrew was on what they call the paedophile island with an underage sex slave having sex with her. So more or less raping kids. And yet there's still fucking stories and headlines focusing on Meghan Markle. The Telegraph today ran a story on how Harry can be accepted back into the fold, but Meghan won't be. There was a front page on the Express, no mention of Prince Andrew, who's accused of being a fucking nonce. But Meghan Markle has made a big mistake, in inverted commas. Turn to page 12 to see what it is. It's unreal. Like, you've literally got the Queen's son, a prominent member of the royal family, right? Not just some sort of fringe member, someone who is the brother of the next in line to the throne, who's accused of being basically a fucking rapist or whatever you want to call it, a paedophile. And there's quite a lot of evidence gathering against him here. He isn't cooperating with the authorities. This is making news across the world, and yet the British press, the British right-wing press, still want to focus on Meghan Markle because, let's face facts, okay, Prince Andrew is a rapist, allegedly. He's a nonce, allegedly, but, he's not black. So let's pick on her. It's fucking bullshit, mate. And no one can tell me otherwise. It's an absolute joke. She's moved to America. They all wanted rid of her. She's done what they wanted. She's fucking gone. And yet they're still hounding her at a time when the royal family should be actually being held to account for being potentially harbouring a criminal.
Are any papers doing that, though? Are there enough? I've not seen that across as many headlines, because that should be... I know we're going through a storm of a pandemic at the moment, but that's fucking huge. Why is that not on the front of the page every single day? Across all the broad... I know what you're saying, why we're focusing on Meghan Markle and, different courses for different horses or whatever. But why is it not on every single paper? I was reading these allegations coming out. What... Does it benefit the Telegraph to go after the royal family?
No.
So it's a self-serving publication, isn't it? That's why they're printing the Meghan Markle story.
Do you know what though, right? Scott, I mean, me and you both come from journalist backgrounds in different ways. You've done writing, and you've been, you've got a radio show and you do stuff there. I've been involved in journalism for the last sort of 10 years. Where's your integrity? Do you know what I mean? Like, someone saying to me, I want you to do an article on Meghan Markle having a dig at her, or what you to do an article about the royal family. All right, yeah, we're going to go after Prince Andrew, he's doing all these heinous things. No, I want you to go write an article, 500 words on, why Meghan Markle should never come back to England. Where do and none of these people say, hang on a minute, that's fucking ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, or why would I want to do that? Do you know, like, surely you've got to be a point in your career or in your life where you just assess it and go, that's nonsense. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. That's just going to make me look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And don't give me this shit about, you've got a job to do. You're not a fucking concentration camp commandant. You can say no.
Yeah.
You know
it's not a god.
Not saying they couldn't say no, but do you know what I mean? This isn't like, whatever. You get the point I'm making.
It's not a fucking gossip mag. You're not writing for OK Magazine. You shouldn't be commenting. You shouldn't be commenting on fucking, because there's one about a nail varnish as well. That she was wearing too dark a nail varnish at one point. I remember that was in the fucking.
You are joking. She was wearing dark nail varnish.
And terrible. How dare she?
How the fuck can she have the gall to leave her house?
Yeah, what was Harry thinking though? Did he not check out what?
Is he on smack him or what? How the hell can you go out with someone or marry someone that's got dark nail varnish?
She should have had the Union Jack nail varnish like they wear down in like an Essex girl.
She shouldn't even have any nails anyway, from all the work she's been doing, helping poor people, which is what she should be doing, instead of gallivanting around getting her nails painted. Like,
but you make a good point about, like, integrity is a dying thing in journalism, and I'm not saying that across the board, but when you're looking at more of the national papers now and the likes of the Telegraph and the Daily Mail, and we spoke about earlier on with the
as well, mate, the Express.
Yeah, and the Express, and fucking the Sun as well. And we're talking a lot about Rupert Murdoch and where does integrity lie? Because it's the paymasters, and people will write lines for money, and that's where we're up to now. And we all know the way that media is going. Would you be the journalist that goes against your editor when you know that the national press is on its ass, and it's been dying for a while since the birth of the internet and social media? People don't buy newspapers as much or get their news from it. Are you going to be the person that goes up against that? That's quite a brave. I'm not offering any sort of defense for it, but I'm offering maybe a devil's advocate on it. Do you know what I mean? Are they going to go across there? Do they actually believe in the views that they're talking about? But then again, let's move back to Prince Andrew. Why the fuck is he not coming forward? He's guilty, isn't he? You think he's guilty?
Yeah. But mate, did you see the interview with Emily Maitlis?
Yeah, well, yeah, the sweaty one where he was just a fucking car crash. How his PR people allowed him to go and do that interview? I can just imagine what's it called? I can imagine the Malcolm Tucker in the background of the Prince Andrew going fucking berserk, saying, "Why is he saying that? Fucking, I was in Woking Pizza Express, fucking hell, mate."
As you know, as my old solicitor used to say, just go no comment in them type of interviews, mate. You fucking doing yourself no favors. You know what I mean? Like, that's a no comment interview if ever I've seen one. Are you going to say no comment to every question I give you? No comment. That's what you fucking lie, mate, because your banter right. Seriously, it just made it worse.
Should we not be handing him over though? If that was Joe Public, if that was me and you, and we've been charged with something, we like the American press have been after us to do something. American law enforcement were after us for something similar, we'd be shipped off, wouldn't we? I imagine.
I hope so. Genuinely, you know what I mean? If you know, I hope as a country we don't have a policy of harbouring paedophiles, then I hope that's not the sort of the way it works. Yes, we should be handing him over. I don't know why we're not. He says he's cooperating. They're saying he's not. He's obviously lying. You know, these documents could hopefully shed light on what's gone on and bring him to justice. And if he is to be brought to justice, I don't give a fuck if he's the King of England or whoever he is. He goes and serves his sentence.
Well, we do have extradition laws, don't we, with America over here? Because, we did do it with the whole Guantanamo Bay stuff and the Julian Assange, and that's why I had to seek asylum in, was it Ecuador's?
No, we're not Venezuela. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you don't come here to get away from fucking the law in America. Like, I know there was the American diplomat who went over to America, and we haven't been able to get them back. The one that, forgive me, I've forgotten. It was Harry, wasn't it? The lad who got hit by a car.
He got hit by a car, yeah.
But yeah, that's different because they were a diplomat and there's diplomatic immunity and all that shit. But no, get him over it and answer his fucking questions, because when he gave that interview, he answered a lot of them and it didn't make any sense. If you show me a picture of me and a young girl and say, "Is this you and her?" then I'm going to know it's not. I'm going to say, "No, that's not me. No, that's not true. That's been fabricated. That's a Photoshop picture." He didn't say that.
Yeah.
He didn't. If you watch the interview, he was like, "Well, I don't remember that." And that's upstairs in Ghislaine's house, and I've never been upstairs. Well, how do you know it's upstairs in her house? Fucking thick twat. It was genuinely the worst interview he could have done. Like, it couldn't have been any worse unless he'd have said, "Yes, I did fucking do it," and take me to jail. It was ridiculous. Right up to the point where he denied him being able to sweat.
Yeah.
Remember that bit? Like, she said you were sweating. Well, it can't be me because I don't sweat. What? What the fuck are you talking about? What are you even on about? You can't sweat. Everyone can sweat. Right? What are you on about? Oh, because I was in the Falklands. Oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? You're the only man who survived the Falklands who can't sweat, and then there's pictures of him sweating. It's like, do you know when you say something and you think, shit, I shouldn't have said that?
Yeah.
You can imagine saying, "Oh, I can't sweat," and then thinking, shit, why the fuck have I just said that? Like, obviously I can sweat. And obviously that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, that's like saying, it couldn't have been me because I was flying a unicorn over a rainbow that day. You've just fucking absolutely ruined yourself. So yeah, he's got to go, man. He's got to go over there. He's got to answer his questions. And if he's guilty, he's got to do his time.
Are America press in England enough to get him over? Do you know what I mean? Do you think the American press are actually doing
anyone, really?
Oh, that's a good
point. I mean, Bill Clinton, Trump, who else?
Yeah.
Are they really keen for all this shit to come out? The guy who's behind it all's dead. Right,
yeah.
For starters.
Mysteriously killed himself.
Yeah. Killed himself and all the cameras were turned off and the people that were maybe looking at him went on a break. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, all right. Do you know what I mean? Do we even need to throw an allegedly in there that he definitely didn't kill himself and was murdered? So yeah, he's gone, obviously. Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah, she's probably going to get life imprisonment or whatever because she's basically been a fucking head of a paedophile ring. Is anyone really going to cut a deal with her? Do they want all this coming out? Are they, oh, have you tell us this or whatever? Or is there hard evidence there? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty disgusting what's going on. And I hope the people that are behind it all get see their day in court and get, the victims get to see justice. But I'm not too confident. I think there's too many powerful people who could get burnt by this. And I think one way or the other, it's all going to go away.
Yeah, and you got to think you got to wonder if there's even a deal on the table, aren't you, from the people on the American side?
If this was like some sort of a mafia trial, or whatever, and you've got like one of the capos, and you can bring down all the 5 families, you'd fucking offer him anything, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if this is Henry Hill, he's getting offered.
Yeah,
he's getting offered like
live in the sun somewhere and never get bothered again. Just give us the names. But with her, she's probably just fucking, shitting it that she's going to get done in jail. And there's probably, certain politicians, certain people of influence who are shitting it that their misdemeanors, not, they're worse than misdemeanors, their crimes that are going to come out. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. Well, I think, was it the judge's son in one of the cases got shot the other week as well?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of shady shit going on, man.
It's like we're living in a fucking John Grisham novel. Do you not think with all the fucking media, how Murdoch's controlling it and all these people are getting fucking
George Orwell novel in a minute, but I get what you're coming from. Fucking hell, yeah. Yeah, I know it is. It's just bizarre. Every day brings its own new fucking horror.
Let's move on closer to home then. Boris Johnson decided 9 o'clock on the eve of Eid to do a national lockdown, and you're not allowed to, well, not a national lockdown, to stop social bubbles of people in largely Asian populated parts of the UK not to be able to go together into each other's houses. I firmly believe this was a move based and a pop at the Asian communities in the country. When I seen it when I was in Sicily, I was first and foremost, I didn't know if I could come back to the country, and then my wife said that it's Eid the following day, and I was like, it just so obviously that was the reasoning behind it. Do you agree with that?
100%. I think was it you that tweeted that, I can't remember if it's you or someone else who I follow who's tweeted similar things about like, imagine cancelling Christmas on Christmas Eve. There'd be fucking riots. Do you know what I mean? It's yeah, it is. I mean, I think we're in the middle of a racist government anyway, and no amount of Rishi Sunak fucking Superman cartoons are going to convince me otherwise. Do you know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted here. This government's as fucking right wing as we've ever had. And demonising the Muslim community is just fucking bread and butter to them. And punishing the Muslim community. I didn't see any Muslims gathering in fucking their droves defending empty cenotaphs for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
I didn't see
down at the beach.
Down at the beach. Yeah, I didn't see loads of people in Muslim get up there when it was absolutely rammed on Bournemouth Beach. I didn't think Bournemouth had a massive Muslim community.
Yeah.
That came out in their thousands, so all hit the beach that day. It's a nonsense to say that it's anything other than targeting a minority that you don't like, and you're trying to demonize, and you're trying to almost blame. It's pointing a finger, we've had to do this because they're to blame. And I've seen this shit being spouted. I've seen it's being spouted that, or the reason that the rate is higher in the BAME community is because they're not doing social distancing. That's fucking bollocks.
No, it's so offensive.
It's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And you haven't even got a definitive study on that yet. And you come out with this drivel. about it. You know, it's because they're not adhering to social distancing. You've got Matt Hancock, who didn't adhere to social distancing when he was pictured in the House of Commons with his arm around his mate. You've got Dominic Cummings, who went to test his eyesight by taking his fucking kids and his family to Barnard Castle and back again.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, everyone, the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, again, who's just a fucking idiot, all defending it. That is when you lost control of this. That moment there is when the whole nation said, they're not doing it. Why should we? Everyone did.
Yeah.
Everyone did. Now, there's different degrees of doing that. Some people did it to a lesser degree. Some people just thought, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't blame them, because when you've got the people at the top that are enforcing these laws and they're not abiding by them, and then not only are they not abiding by them, but when they're breaking them, they're defending themselves against breaking them and acting like that's okay.
And this is where we are now, because they were rubbing it in our faces. They weren't coming out and apologising for any of this shit when people are shipping off for fucking second homes up in Scotland. And like you said, Dominic Cummings going to the end of the country for an eyesight test. And now this evening, Manchester has been labelled as a major incident, hasn't it? So I think we could be going back into lockdown ourselves in the Northwest over the next couple of weeks. What do you make of that? They're saying what I think what he might do now is have a knee-jerk reaction based on how badly he managed it, because it came out recently that I think it should fall away that if he'd done it 2 weeks previously, then we would have saved half the number of lives that have been lost.
You know what I want to see, Scotty, just on it. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you then, mate. On a more local, I don't know. I want to see sort of Andy Burnham taking charge a bit more of this, because at the moment, I'm a big Andy Burnham fan. I like him personally and I like him as a politician, but I don't know. I just get the impression that we're just following this government down into the fucking abyss constantly. Yeah. And I've had that impression since day one. You know, we can point the finger at Cheltenham as much as we want and at Atletico versus Liverpool. Why did we have our St. Patrick's Day parade after those events here in Manchester? Yep. You know, it's no good fucking just blaming everything on the government when you're doing the same thing. You know, that announcement was made at 9 o'clock on I forget, was it Thursday night?
Thursday night, yeah.
You know, then Andy Burnham did his own. Why, Andy? Like, what was going on there? If Andy Burnham didn't know about this, why wasn't he saying, "No, we need to hold a press conference and we need to do it properly"? You know, what's going on here? Why are we just sort of going along with it?
He got told about it, I think, about 5 o'clock on Thursday. He's come out on Twitter. But Andy Burnham seems to is great for the taglines on social media that he wants to try and do something, and it should stuff on a more localized level. But how much power has he got that he can do anything? Do you know what I mean? Does he have the control on Manchester? I know we were looking to be devolved and have our own control over our own city and region and stuff, but what more can he actually do?
Well, he can be vocal. He can be more vocal. I think the sort of the message that he sent out on Thursday night was one of, you know, I agree with what's going on and I don't know. I mean, I'm personally wanting a bit more than that. Yes, you can say that this is the right thing to do, but you can still hold the government's feet to the fire. You're still in opposition. I know you're the mayor of Manchester, but you're still a Labour mayor of Manchester. And last time I checked, the Tories were in power.
Yeah.
So you're fucking coming out with stronger sort of arguments, stronger cases against it, pointing out the fact that we can all see the fucking what's going on. Do you know what I mean? We're not stupid. We can see what this government's doing. We can see the problems we've had, and they need to be able to account. And I get there has to be a degree of cooperation, but the two aren't mutually exclusive. You can cooperate and you can still criticise, and that's not what I'm seeing enough of. I feel like there's too much going along with it all the time and agreeing with them all the time, and not enough pushing back, not enough highlighting the injustices of this, not enough speaking out for, you know, if you're a Muslim member of the community in Manchester, how are you feeling on Thursday night?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got the Health Secretary does his announcement and the Mayor does his, and you're just sat there thinking this is a fucking absolute stitch up. Do you know what I mean? Who's speaking for you? So, yeah, I just think he needs to be a little bit more vocal against this government and about what they're doing. And, you know, we need to have, if we haven't got more of a say, then you've got to ask yourself, what is the fucking point in having a mayor?
Well, I've always thought that about mayor anyway. Like, what sort of power do they have? I mean, fucking, what was it, 15 years ago, Terry Christian was fucking running for the mayor of England. Such as the amount of power. Yeah, such as the amount. Obviously, he got nowhere near it, but yeah, such as the amount of power that they actually have. But did you see the Westminster WAG comment today?
Oh, Sarah Vine. Michael Gove's missus.
Yeah, Michael Gove's missus. Let me get it up and I'll read it. Just edit this bit out.
Sorry, we don't edit. I'll sing a song while you're
you burp us the national anthem.
There you go.
Okay, no.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarah Vine, Michael Goldsmith says, we all have to die sooner or later. If I get COVID and cop it, so be it. My time has come. I'll have had a good life, better than most in this world at any rate. I certainly don't expect the entire nation to bankrupt itself to save my sorry ass.
Yeah, my comment on that was the first two sentences in that tweet are exactly what I'd expect from someone who wakes up next to Michael Gove every morning.
Yeah. I bet she's got fucking private healthcare, though, hasn't she?
Oh, no, don't be silly. She's A&E down in Lewisham or whatever. Yeah,
I'd love her to get it and go like, no, you know, just somebody else can go before me. You know, there are other people that need operations and shit. But I mean, again, that surely by her association with Michael Gove, then shouldn't there be more fucking shit thrown at Michael Gove saying what's your missus fucking saying this sort of shit for?
The thing is, right, they distance themselves from it all the time, don't we? When Boris Johnson's dad goes on holiday, it's nothing to do with Boris Johnson. When Michael Gove's fucking missus spouts a load of shite, it's nothing to do with him. Do you know what I mean? It is, though. And we know it is. You know, if you're the Prime Minister and you've got a policy, you tell your dad not to go on holiday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're the Prime Minister, you're not the fucking, assistant manager at Greg's.
Yeah.
You've got an important job, and part of that job is sending out a message to the rest of the country, and it undermines that message when members of your own family aren't abiding by it. And it's the same with, and I don't believe you can control your missus. My missus has got a Fellaini tattoo in her hand, for fuck's sake. I cannot control my missus, so I don't expect everyone else to. But again, when you're a government minister and these are sort of important things that are going to save lives, you can get your missus to go along with it. You can.
Yeah.
Let's face that. She would be. Yeah. And
you're expecting Michael Gove to have a fucking backbone there. He's one of the slimiest men in fucking.
He's just probably that grateful he's got someone who'll shag him that'll fucking do whatever she says.
Oh man, can you imagine the fucking Slim Pickens at the fucking Eton Rifle Club when fucking she was doing, the keys were in the bowl and she got Michael Gove's fucking Fiat Punto fucking keys. Jesus Christ!
I bet she was in his ear. You better fucking make something of your life. If you're not Prime Minister for the next 20 years, I would be fucking fuming.
Imagine it's steamy glasses and fucking hell.
Mate, it's not worth thinking about, is it? Michael Gove's sex face. Let's move on. There's the title.
Yeah.
No, it's a joke, and you have to take some responsibility. They should be in it. We're all meant to be in this together, and that for me should include the politicians and their families. They should be singing from the same song sheet, and they're not. And it's this thing. It's like all this. I keep going back to it. This Trumpian idea that you can have. Trump did it when he was locking down, or he was saying that we've got to have social distancing. Then he was backing the protesters, the right wing protesters who were against it, saying what's the word he used? Liberate Minnesota or whatever the fuck it was. These cities, or states, liberate Michigan or whatever. And it's like this now. It's like the sort of the right wing ideology around all this is it's too draconian, and we it's infringing on our freedoms, and we shouldn't have to wear masks, and we shouldn't have to do this, and we shouldn't have to do that. But he needs to be towing the party line. She needs to be towing the party line. He needs to be telling her, you know what, we're in this together. We do need to back certain people financially. We do need to back the economy. We do need to help those who can't help themselves at the minute. This is where we all need to pull together. And her saying, bankrupt the economy. Listen, we've had 10 years of fucking austerity that was pointless. So don't give me this shit that we can't afford to fucking look after people who are going through a pandemic, because we can. Sarah Vine has always been, I think, one of the most deplorable characters in British media, and nothing she says or does surprises me. I've always thought she was just a vile person, a horrible, horrible person, and this is just true to form.
Yep. I mean, we started the podcast talking about the integrity in media, and we'll end it on the lack of integrity in media. I've been Scotty. That's been Motty. It's been good to be back, man. I have missed chatting to you, mate. Yeah, I have missed you. It's been good, man.
And
Thanks everyone who's been.
By the amount of people that when they chat to me, I've been asking when you're back. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, yeah, like fucking tweets and all that. Like, do you know what I mean? Not like, oh, Jay, I loved you on Stretford Paddock. You know what I mean? It's like, Jay, when Scotty back.
You're the brains, I'm the looks, mate. Fucking
settle for that, mate. Oh, I'll take that one. There's the clip I'm using.
Yeah. Thanks everyone who's been getting in touch. We got a really good comment this week about doing a show just talking about me and you, about how we've met, and there's some sort of anecdotes, maybe going through Melia and shit like that. That might be quite interesting. And then the other one was asking each other top 25 questions, but just random bullshit. And then I won't prepare you with mine, and then you don't prepare me with yours, and we'll just see where that fucking goes. So we've been reading the comments. So thanks everyone. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep commenting. Tell your fucking mates. We're having a laugh doing it. We're loving that you're watching and stuff like that. So we shall see you very, very soon.